Hi everyone! Today we are going to show you how we winterize our trailer. So this is what you need.
Non-toxic RV antifreeze.
What is this one?
That's just so that we catch the RV antifreeze as it comes out, because we're going to dribble it. It's going to dribble some on the ground.
Okay.
First thing we got to do is drain the hot water tank. So the hot water tank's full of water and it'll freeze and break if you don't drain it. So all you have to do is look for this little plug here and you just take that out.
So all the trailer have different, right?
Well, they'll all have this. They'll all have a hot water tank and they'll all have a plug. So you just unscrew it until it's hand tight and you just take it out.
Okay.
Some of these actually have a zinc plug for corrosion protection, and I might get one because I think they're better, but this one I only have a plastic one. So watch your feet, it's gonna puke out of here. This is just water, it's not hurting anything. Okay, so
it doesn't hurt if you drain it there?
no, it would hurt it if it was turned on and you drained it because you would overheat it, but we're draining it and we're not lighting anything, so it's gonna be, we're just draining all the water out. But it's not enough. We still have to push some antifreeze out of here at some point too. So we'll do that. First, let's get set up inside. Okay, so you have to find where your water pump is in your trailer. That's what you need to know. And for ours, it's under the seat right here.
This is where our water pump. So it depends on your trailer where is the water pump.
There's a water pump there.
Okay.
So with this one, you have water that gets drawn in from the water tank from this line. Goes into the pump this way. Goes in here, goes around, and goes in right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that flow so that it comes. We're going to close this valve and we're going to open this.
What is that valve?
That's the valve from the tank to the pump.
Okay.
From the water tank to the pump. And instead we've got a temporary suction line right here that we're going to suck out the antifreeze and put it into the system. So
okay. Why you will close that one?
So we don't suck it out of the tank. We want to suck it out of this one.
Okay, the antifreeze.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
So and this is our, so we're going to put this in here and we're going to suck it out and we're going to blow it through all the lines until it turns pink. But while we're doing that, of course, we're just draining the hot water tank. So first thing I would do, it's really easy. The idea is that you put antifreeze into all your water lines. And you get rid of the water in any place where it can expand and crack a fitting. So this is what we're going to do here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pump everything through the system until it's pink. It's super easy. Shut off the valve from the tank, from the water storage tank, and we open the valve to the temporary winterization line, which is this. What I do is I just put it down here. It even fits. You just put this in like that.
Okay.
It's so easy. Now, what sometimes happens is this likes to pop out. So I'll get a clamp and I'll just clamp it. What we can do here is we can just do this. And this will just prevent this from popping out and putting it and dumping antifreeze on the ground. So I just do that.
Okay.
Right. The other thing we got to do is, if any place there's water trapped in the line, you got to get rid of it. Any water here is going to crack that, and that's going to leak. So what I normally do is I do the winterization, and then I trickle a little bit of antifreeze backwards into the water tank, and then that protects the valve and this little piece of pipe and the fitting and the suction line. So first thing we're going to do is turn on the pump and we're going to start pumping here. So let's see. Generally what you want to do is you want to go from closest to furthest away. So the first thing we're going to do is do the sink, do the kitchen sink. You'll see how easy it is. So right now we should be pumping into the system. The other thing you want to do too right now is you've got to sort of shut the valves to the hot water tank too. So it's always a little bit of messing around here to make sure you get this right. So let me just, I don't want to pump any antifreeze into the hot water tank right now. So this is the cold water going to the hot water tank. We're going to close that because otherwise it's going to go into the hot water tank and out onto the ground. We don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that all the antifreeze goes only where we want it to go. So yeah, that should do it. Okay.
So this is the pump switch over here. So you have to look for your pump, water pump.
Yeah, and when you turn it on, it'll be dry. So you have to open up your tap to get it to flow. Maybe you film that clear plastic hose, and you'll see when the pink gets sucked out of it.
Okay, when you turn on the power pump switch, this is what happened.
Oh, so it's already got water in it, so it should flow water, and then it'll start sucking out watch. See the pink?
Yeah. So once you turn on the water pump switch, you have to turn on
this will turn pink. Okay, that's it. That's done. So that means
Okay.
the cold water line to the kitchen is done. Next one we got to do is the hot water line. So that means some changing the valves down here. So yeah, this is where you really sort of just have to look at your system and understand it. So right now what we're doing is we're taking antifreeze through here. It's going through the pump, coming out the pump, and going into the cold water line, which goes to everything. Both lines to the hot water tank, sort of the hot water and the cold water, they're both shut right now, so nothing's going into the hot water tank. But what I want to do is I actually want to get antifreeze into all the hot water lines here. So to do that, we have to open the bypass between the cold and the hot and close the hot water outlet from the tank. So there's two valves, one going into the hot water tank, one going out, and there's a bypass. We want to open the bypass so that we can get antifreeze to all our hot water lines. So what this is going to do is if we keep all the cold water faucets closed and we open a hot water, it'll let the antifreeze go through the pump into the line and through the bypass into all the red hot water lines. And then we can do the hot water faucets too. So we're going to do the hot water faucet on the kitchen first. Okay. And the pump is on, pressurized, so it's just turning on until it's pink. That's hot water. Watch. And it's pink. Done.
So when it's pink, it's done.
Yeah. So both cold and hot of the kitchen. The next one we're going to do is actually outside, and that's the outside shower. So let's go outside and we'll do that.
So why not the shower inside first?
It's further away. Let's do the closest ones first and then work our way out.
Okay.
And we are actually going to put a little bit of antifreeze into the hot water tank too, because we don't want anything freezing. I think this is the right key for this. Let's see.
So this is the utility shower?
Yeah, outside. Yeah.
The outside shower. So
It's the same as the kitchen sink exactly. Hot and cold.
So
Just turn it on until you get pink coming out of one and then the other, and no longer, because you don't want to use up any more than you have to. So what I do is I spray water under the ground. And you see it's pink. So that's good. That's
the cold water.
Cold or hot, I'm not sure which one. Oh yeah. It's not toxic anyway, so you get a little on the ground, it's not gonna hurt anything. And this is the other one, so this is the cold one. And it's clear, and now it's pink. So that's done. So this line's full. It's fully winterized. Give it a little extra, just just to make sure that, yeah, that's good. So now this can live in here all winter and it's not gonna freeze. Good to minus 50. So the next one's a little more difficult than this one.
So the next one will be the
utility water connection if you're running on direct supply from at the campsite, the city water connection. So this one you have to get antifreeze to come out of it, and it's a one-way valve that only goes in. So how do you get it to come out? So I have a trick for that. Most of these have a little rubber cap that goes on it. I got this one instead, and then I use this to actually winterize, but I need a little part that pushes this in. This little, see this one-way valve? Look at. Now it's pressurized. So if I push that in right now, we're gonna have a problem. Actually.
Why?
Because the rubber gas, it's gonna displace, and then you're gonna have to take it apart. So before we do this, I'm gonna depressurize the system completely, so it's totally. I'm gonna shut the pump off, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because then you got to take it apart. You can fix it. It's easy to fix, but it's just.
So what happens if you press it with the pressure?
There's a rubber seal that'll pop off, and then it won't seal at all. And then you got to take it apart and put the seal back on, and it's a pain.
Is that the same with
everybody's
trailer?
Yeah, everybody's.
Okay, so you have, which one did you turn off? The
pump is off first.
Okay.
Pump off. Now the pump's not going to run, but there's still pressure, so let's bleed all the pressure out. No pressure on the hot water side, and no pressure on the cold water side.
How about the out?
We'll check it outside too. Yeah, see? I can press that in now, and no problem, and it comes right back, the rubber. See?
Okay.
It's fine. Right, just like that.
Okay, so with the pressure, it will come out.
You'll break it if there's pressure on it. So you have to take the pressure off and then make sure that you can push this in by hand first. And this one is good to do with 2 people. It's just an invention, but.
So what is that? Oh, you make that one then?
Yeah, and that's just to push the plunger in. So I just do it like this.
But without that, what other thing that you can use?
Well, they got to find something to put in there that you're going to be able to push the plunger in and depressurize the spring so that it'll leak out of here.
Okay.
The problem is when I turn it on, this is going to shoot and hit my truck. So I have to take this off first.
So what he's doing right now is he put
just a little chunk of hose so that we don't spray antifreeze.
Oh.
Train. Yeah.
So he put a hose here so it doesn't spray on us this
the
water, and then his zip tie to hold it.
Okay, so this will hold us in so we don't puke any. There, that'll hold it. Yeah.
Okay, so what you will do?
Just making sure this is okay. Yep, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna run water in reverse out the city water connection, and the antifreeze has to come out of here.
Okay.
Otherwise, that short piece of line in there could freeze and break. So to do that, you have to have it no pressure on the system first. So best thing to do is just open up your kitchen taps and leave them open. And then when they're open, there's no pressure. There's going to be very little pressure on this. So then you can push that in by hand. So that's how you check. See how I can push it in? But so what I do is I have a little fitting like this, and I put this over top of here like that. You can see that it kind of lines up on the little valve in there, and then I just tighten this up, and I don't tighten this up very much, just enough to depress that little valve in there. So just like that's probably good enough. I'm gonna turn the pump on, and there should be pink coming out of here. I'll just turn it on until there's pink coming out.
So he put a clip there so the hose doesn't spray. If you're doing it by yourself, you have to
just be careful you don't get sprayed.
Okay.
I'm just going to turn it on and then turn it off. Tell me if you see pink coming out.
Okay. Yeah, it's pink.
It is?
But it's coming out in the, not in the hose.
It's coming out around that little fitting a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit more. It's pink already, but
It doesn't matter if it drips.
yeah, it's pink.
Okay, that's good. That's it.
So very easy. Just have to.
Once you do that, you know that your city water line has got antifreeze in it. So then this is not tight, and that's why this is dripping here. Yeah, that's what we want, is we want it to come out of there. So now I'll take this guy off. I'll put it back. So now this is going to be a reverse valve here. So the next thing we do is I want to check it to make sure that it seals. So I can turn it back on, and this should not leak.
Okay.
So now that should hold. That shouldn't leak now. So you better stand back though, just in case it leaks.
So he'll turn the pump on inside again, the switch.
The pump should come up to pressure and then stop. And that's how you know it's not leaking. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no water.
Not leaking.
No.
Okay, good.
So if there's no water coming out, it means it's not leaking. I think this is the hardest part of
this is the hardest.
the winterizing.
Yeah, this is the one that just takes some fiddle. So
Yeah, because you have to go back and forth inside where the switch, and then
this is the
if
only
it's
one.
only you, then you
You just have to run back and forth. And if you get a little of this on the ground, it really doesn't matter because it's non-toxic. It's an RV potable water antifreeze. So
What is that?
That's just the screen to keep it clean. If you're
Okay.
putting water in from a city connection, you want that in there to make sure you don't put crap into your system. So this is the plug that I use, and then I just put this little rubber cap on the end. I got a little rubber cover, and it goes on like that, and that's that. That's done.
Okay.
So now the next one we're gonna do is the bathroom and the toilet.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do these ones out here. This is the farthest out. And then we're gonna do the hot water tank. So we've done the kitchen, we've done the outdoor shower, and we've done the city water connection. You can see we used about half of our antifreeze already. So you can go through that pretty quick if you're not careful. But this shouldn't take very long. So we'll do the sink first.
Okay.
Then we'll do the bathtub, then we'll do the shower, then we'll do the toilet.
Okay.
So
this is on now?
yeah, it's on.
Okay.
So
We'll do the sink.
done. Done.
So once it's
That's good.
pretty fast though.
Yeah. So tub. Oops.
Wait.
That's the shower. Maybe we turn our shower off. There's cold, and there it is. And maybe we'll pull the shower curtain out of there so we don't get any antifreeze all over it.
So the water that goes, like the white water that come out, it goes to the tank, right?
It does, yeah. We don't really care too much about that because it's not much. But what we can do is we can actually drain the tank into a bucket, like what's in there. So this one now this is the hot water line, and it's taking a little longer. Yep. So cold, hot, good. So now what I'll do is
The shower.
we'll do the shower next here. We have to turn these on, and then we'll just turn it on until we get pink coming out, and that's pink, so it's good.
Oh yeah, it's pink.
Now we turn that off. We just depressurize it.
So it's all pink.
Yeah, we'll just mop that up later.
Yeah.
So that's that. Now it's the toilet. It's the next one. So it doesn't matter if there's water in the holding tanks. It's just when they're at the valves. That's the only thing. Or
So it doesn't make the tank crack?
Not the tank, because there's not very much in there, but if there's water that's sitting at the bottom of a fitting, yeah, it can.
Okay.
So that's why we have to check the outlet here in a little bit, but everything inside's done now.
Okay.
So the only other thing to do right now is to check, and we still got.
So is that enough?
And we still got quite a bit in there. We're still good. The next one is pretty easy.
So what is that line?
These are just lines to drain, basically.
Okay.
But they're valves, and we didn't even have these on our other trailer. But this, I don't know why they have these here. They're a little bit of a risk to getting hit with rocks and stuff, but. Pink.
Okay, that's pink already.
And then this one, we gotta make this one pink. Pink. Should do it.
Okay, so that's
So,
it?
Yeah, except I want to pull these lines and just drain anything that could be in there, because if there's water there and it freezes, it'll crack that plastic. So
What is that line?
That's our dump hole. That's our dump line. It's not.
Okay.
We drained it and flushed it at our last campsite, so it shouldn't be too bad. But
yeah. Okay.
still, we'll just check it. We'll get a bucket. Oh, and we have to do the hot water tank too. So maybe we'll do the hot water tank first.
Okay.
So hot water tank, we want to just throw a little bit of antifreeze into it, so it comes out there. I just put a little bit into it. Some people say you don't have to, but I do anyway. I don't care. I like to do that. Okay. So this is easy to do. All you have to do is just open up the valve inside, and I'll show you. There's two lines that connect to the hot water tank. One is the cold water supply, which is here, and then coming out is the hot water supply going to the faucets, and then there's a bypass. Right now we bypass the hot water tank, so there's water in this section here and into this section here. So we want to blow a little bit of antifreeze into the tank this way and this way.
So why people don't like to put antifreeze in the hot water tank? Is that safe?
It's safe. It just means that when you unwinterize it, you got to run water until you don't smell the antifreeze anymore.
Okay.
But you know, you just make sure you blow it through here. So I mean, it's very easy to do. You just do, see this, and it's going to come out and go into the bucket outside, but that's okay. We don't care. So when I open this, right now it's closed because it's crossways to the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
When you turn it in the direction of the pipe, that means it's open.
Okay.
So I'm just going to open this. You'll hear it. And that's probably good. And then we'll do the same. That's the cold water. So we've put antifreeze in through the cold water line.
Mm-hmm.
Give it one more shot. And then we'll do the hot water line here. Yep. Now the only other thing that I want to do is this section here going back into the tank. So everything from here, everything is now antifreeze, but this little suction from the cold water from our water storage tank could still have water in it. So the only real way to do that is to just let this bleed backwards through here. And as long as you get it past this section, you don't have to worry, because this is flexible. That's not going to crack. You won't damage that in the wintertime too much. So what I do is I turn the pump off, and then what we do is we pull this out, and this guy is full. Basically it's full right now, so yeah. So what I want to do is I want to let this drain backwards.
How do you do that?
Yeah, so if I open this, when this is got air in it, it should just run backwards. So
Okay.
just watch it. See?
Okay.
So it went this way.
So it means that there's antifreeze there then.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. And probably, I mean, you can see how much pipe went through here. So for sure there's enough in there, because this guy is not very long and this is longer. So we should be okay. At this point, I'm going to close this guy. And we're set up now. The valves are basically set up for winterization. When we unwinterize it, we'll kind of do things in reverse. But we'll just make sure that we got antifreeze that went into the hot water tank. And I think we're good. So, and we got a little bit left over. So what I do is pull this out. Good idea to have a paper towel so you don't dribble this stuff all over the place. I got a paper towel in my pocket. Yeah. And then.
So that's all done now?
Yeah, except for their dump hose. We should just make sure that we just take something out of our dump line. So I just go like this.
How do you dump in the dump line there?
I just use a bucket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just use a bucket. Okay, so this is pretty well good. And then we'll make sure our pump's off. And probably a good idea to depressurize everything too, so just prevents the possibility of a leak over the winter. It's not going to hurt anything, but
yeah.
And this pink stuff's it's messy, but whatever, who cares?
Yeah, it can be cleaned up, especially when you unwinterize it.
Yep, and it's non-toxic, so it's not going to kill you. Just show the back of it or something.
Yeah.
All right. So that's good. One of the biggest places where people forget with antifreeze is the P-traps in the sink. And actually, that being said, we didn't do this one. So we could have a leak here if we didn't do this.
Oh, okay.
See this? There's a plastic P-trap there that we should always think about dumping some down your P-trap. And then we'll just use the rest here down the P-traps because it's cheap insurance. It's very, very unfortunate if you get a leak. So first thing we did the kitchen sink, we did the hot and cold lines, we did the outdoor shower, we did the outdoor city water connection, we did the sink in the bathroom, we did the toilet, we did the tub and the shower, and we also bled a little bit back into the cold water tank to protect those valves. And now we're just gonna put a plug back in the hot water tank, and then it's good for the winter. There's a little bit of antifreeze everywhere, but we'll flush that out next year. Probably 4 liters is just about enough too. It's just about the right amount.
There's one more thing is...
Well, there's one more thing. The big thing is the last thing you should do is just make sure that you drain your tanks, your holding tank. So what we're going to do, we know it was empty before we did the winterization, but when we did the winterization, we would have dropped some water into our holding tanks as well as antifreeze. And you just don't want any of the plastic parts to crack. So the last thing I like to do is just to make sure that this little section from the tank down here is drained. And we do that with just a regular hose. So I'll show you. For the amount that's in here, nothing might even come out. It's only antifreeze and water in here because we flushed this at our last camping trip. There's not going to be anything on it. What I do is we just put it into the bucket here, And then it's going to be a mixture of water and antifreeze mostly, and there might not be anything coming out just because of the way the trailer is, but I'll dump it.
Because we dump it already.
We dump it already, and
it's all clean.
It's not going to go into the bucket until I move the hose. You'll see. Yeah, there's nothing even coming out of there.
So it's empty.
There's not enough in there to come out. The way the trailer's leaning, it's not gonna, it's just sitting in the holding tank. So we know that our toilet is good. Yeah. And to check that, you can just do this. Yeah, see, nothing, dry. So we know that this section of pipe here is dry. It's not gonna freeze, not gonna crack. The only other one is this one, and this one might have a little bit in it, but I don't think so either. Everything is leaning.
So once it's dry, it means that it won't crack there.
Yeah, there's no water, there's nothing to expand and hurt it.
Okay, but so if there's water, so you have to put the pink.
And part of it, it doesn't matter if the holding tanks have some in it. Yeah, so it's totally and 100% dry, our pipes. So that means that we're confident that these plastic parts aren't going to crack. So the last thing is we just close her up, and nothing even came out. So we're 100% happy that our trailer's good. And then I just put it back into our little storage tube here.
It's all done.
It's all done.
So that's how we winterize our trailer, and it's very important to use the non-toxic RV antifreeze. And
just to let you know, if you don't have the tools or the skills to work on your trailer, we recommend you take it to a qualified RV mechanic. Thanks.
Thanks everyone. Please don't forget to subscribe on my channel. Bye for now.